My name is Mark Pilling. I am the chairman of the Constitution Party of Florida, and I have a sincere message for all Floridians and Americans on this, the 11th anniversary of September 11, 2001. Who do you believe is running our federal government? We all grew up believing the president and Congress sit atop the totem pole that runs and controls our federal government. But with a study of history and today's facts, I think you would find that that is just simply not the case. The two biggest misconceptions in our world today are, number one, the federal government would never do that to us. And number two, if they did do that to us, the media would surely tell us about it. Today, over 1,500 architects, engineers, scientists, and many others are putting their lives and their lifelong built professional reputations on the line to help wake us up to what truly happened on September 11, 2001. Will you just stand by and abandon these brave men and women and push aside all the overwhelming scientific facts regarding 9/11? Will you let the evidence be covered up over time? Let me ask you, have you ever heard of Building 7? The 9/11 Commission report completely ignores and excludes Building 7, and the mass media has blacked it out over the last 11 years. Let me make this clear. If you, me, and others do not keep Building 7 alive, it will be lost in history to all future generations. All future generations. I implore you, take the time to study Building 7 and keep it alive for future generations. There's a link for you to study right below this video. If you really care what happened to the victims on 9/11, and their families, then take the time to learn the facts regarding that fateful day. By doing so, you will not only help protect yourself and your family, but also future descendants. Take the time to learn what a false flag event is. The Gulf of Tonkin, the event that put us in the Vietnam War and killed over 58,000 Americans, is now being acknowledged as a false flag event. Take the time and analyze how September 11th has been the catalyst for the biggest ramp up to a police state in our nation's history. In 1933 Germany, they had an event called the Reichstag fire that struck fear in the German people. 24 days later, they enacted the Enabling Act to protect the German people. Here in America, we had an event on September 11, 2001 that struck fear in the American people. 55 days later, the Patriot Act was given to Congress, which was allowed 15 minutes to read it before they implemented it to protect the American people. I want you to stop and think exactly what has transpired since September 11, 2001. Number one, the Patriot Act, better known as the Repeal the Fourth Amendment Act, was implemented and enacted so the federal government could search U.S. citizens, even though none of us had anything to do with 9/11. Number two, the Transportation Security Administration, or TSA, was formed. Right after September 11th, it was signed into law on November 19th, 2001 by President Bush. Number three, the Department of Homeland Security was formed in 2003. Much of this department's focus is aimed at Americans. Number four, following 9/11, the National Security Agency began a top secret surveillance program to spy on U.S. citizens without warrants. Codenamed Stellar Wind, or the program by the insiders, the full scope of the surveillance has never been made public. One of NSA's top code breakers and a 32-year employee, and now a whistleblower, named William Beanie, says NSA began spying on U.S. citizens and data mining everything right after 9/11, even though no Americans were involved with 9/11 whatsoever. All this data will be stored at a center in Bluffdale, Utah. Number five, technology is growing now in leaps and bounds. Voice and facial recognition, retina eye scanners, tattoo and scar recognition. It's all part of the billions of dollars the FBI is spending in an attempt to build a national database so they can recognize you and your family. All this while our economy and our federal debt are redlining. How about drones? Number 6, drones. The American people's ability to ensure a representative form of government is truly threatened with the fact that there are now over 60 drone launch sites in America. Many police departments now have drone technology, and almost all of it is aimed at you, me, and other Americans. Number 7, what about the military-industrial complex and military spending? Do you know we spend as much in military spending as all the other 200 nations combined? Yet the moment anyone talks about cutting 10% of the military budget, and it's met with tremendous pushback. The politicians, military leaders, and the media start screaming how unsafe we'll be. We've been spending more than twice as much as any other nation in the world for the last 10 years, and somehow couldn't survive if we spent a penny less. But interestingly, somehow the other 200 nations have all survived. That leads us to the 8th thing that has happened since 9/11, our federal budget. We have had an unbalanced federal budget every single year since 2001. And I'm not talking about a small unbalanced budget. It's unbalanced by over $1 trillion. What about all those unbalanced budgets? What are they doing to our federal debt? Number 9, the federal debt. The federal debt has risen over $10 trillion since 9/11. Just to put that into perspective, from 1776 to 1980, over 200 years as a nation, our debt was less than $1 trillion. But in just 11 years since 9/11, our debt's risen $10 trillion. That is 10 times more in an 11-year period than what we had over the first 200 years as a nation. That type of debt forced upon us is a direct attack on the American people. And the Republican and Democrat parties are both responsible for it. Be prepared, because this attack and the debt is only going to get worse. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, this is a sincere message. Your nation needs you now. She needs you to study history and the facts so you won't be fooled again. After 11 years and so much hard scientific evidence that directly disproves the government's theory of what has happened on September 11, 2001, Americans are still resistant to the truth. The biggest reason is because of the mass media. Most Americans still believe the media is working for them, and they would inform them if the government ever did anything like 9/11 against them. These Americans have not realized and studied history to understand that many of our elected leaders represent others. Please take the time to view the educational links below that point out who may be at the top of the totem pole of authority in our nation. After you study that, then view the thread regarding 9/11 and the pertinent scientific facts. I know it's scary coming to grips with the fact that everything you grew up believing may not be true. But without education and discernment, passion and sincerity will only further enslave the American people. Now that the emotions of 9/11 are not as heightened and your decision making is not quite as emotional, please take a critical look at the evidence that's been compiled for you on the link below. Do not abandon the brave men and women who are doing their best to save you and our nation from this ever happening again. Please consider joining and supporting the party that boldly brings you the truth and is working hard to unite all Americans, not just one side, based on historical truth.